This is your dose of daily market wisdom with master trader Nick Santiago. Starting from humble beginnings, Nick has been beating the markets for over 2 decades. He shares with you his take on the profitable trades that will have you moving towards financial freedom in no time at all. To see an in-depth review of his track record and much more, go to inthemoneystocks.com. Welcome. This is your daily dose of daily market wisdom with master trader Nick Santiago. I'm Kerry Lutz. Today is September 28th, 2020, and this is show number 126. Well, Nick, we started off the week with a bang.
We are. We're starting off the week with a really big rally here. You got the Dow up almost 500 points this morning. The NASDAQ is up another 1.2%. So the market had that big sell-off, 10% correction basically in the NASDAQ, and now we are seeing a very, very big rally from late last week. Friday we had a pretty big up day, and today the market is rallying again. So we are looking at a pretty handsome jump today in the marketplace. One thing I will say, though, anytime the markets close positive on a Friday, it's usually a Monday carryover. Now, I would never think it would be this big, but usually you will get that because when investors and traders are willing to hold stocks over the weekend, that just shows a real big sign of faith that things are going to hold up and be okay. So this morning we're seeing that real nice rally. I have to chalk this all up, Kerry, honestly, to window dressing. I think a lot of it is just institutions that want to show their clients that they own a lot of the big moving stocks over the past 3 months as we go into end of quarter. As you know, this Wednesday will be September 30th. Then we go to October 1st, which is Thursday. So I think a lot of this is window dressing, which is not supposed to be legal, but it takes place every quarter.
Yeah, they always do. Well, it's just portfolio adjustment. We're just adjusting our portfolios to reflect the realities of the market. We would never, ever manipulate our portfolio structure and make it look like trying to convey that we're actually doing something that we're not, right? That just wouldn't happen, sure.
Well, it's funny how this takes place, but you see this a lot at the end of quarter, just about, all 4 times a year. Obviously, this was a big one because you had a lot of big tech stocks that really had a big surge, and then in the beginning of September, they really came down sharply. So they're getting pretty good bounces right now, and tech seems to be leading the way.
Yeah, and so your call that this was not going to be a major correction, retest of the March lows, is today's trading patterns, is that confirming what you said?
Not necessarily confirming it, but, I think we're going to still be a little bit choppy going into the election. But overall, like I said, I don't see it. I don't see this as anything more than a pullback correction. So I know a lot of people on TV comparing this to 1929 and saying that, the market had a 5-month bounce and then it collapsed again. I just don't see that happening. And, you can just look at a lot of different equities out there, whether it's semi-conductors, technology. These companies are now making lots of money. It's not like they don't make money, which is a big difference than, hot speculation. Now, market got frothy. We had a lot of secondaries. We had a lot of IPOs, and market works that stuff off. But like we said, last Thursday, I think I said to you on the program that every sell-off turns into a short squeeze. And, that's what we're seeing again, right now.
So we're seeing a short squeeze today, Nick?
Sure. You've seen it on Friday. All the people that, got short, just say the S&P 500 in, probably around September, they're getting squeezed out. I had a stop out on one of my shorts. I lost 6% last week, and I got stopped out of my second half of SDS, which is basically a short trade on the S&P 500, even though it's a long ETF. I got stopped out of that break even this morning, but we made money on the first half. So, there are a lot of plays out there that, will get stopped out, and then that's forced buy-ins. And when you get forced buy-ins and then you get other buyers, that's a squeeze.
So basically you're upbeat for the market going into the last quarter?
I am overall. I think, though, we still have choppiness going into the election. And I think traders still got to be careful because, if you get sucked into this rally or the short term pop, it can come back down quickly. So, what you're going to need to do here going forward is really, really identify the best support levels, identify the best chart patterns, and you can trade those equities. But I would be very, very careful overall going into the mid to latter part of October. I think it's still a very, very tough period for the market. So, I would not be out there saying, hey, this is just time where you can own anything. It's really not. You have to be very, very selective here.
Hey, what's the market's record in predicting elections?
I think it's not the greatest. Personally, I really try to not look at what the market says. Right, last election market had Hillary Clinton winning it. They thought, and she did not even come close. So you always got to be a bit careful. I know the polls are different than the markets, but I think the markets are telling us there should be a Trump victory at this stage of the game.
All right. Well, hey, from the market's mouth, God's keyboard. We'll see. Gold bouncing up today. Your thinking is that the correction's going to end within a few weeks?
I don't know if it's a few weeks or if it's after a little bit after the election or so, but I do think that we're not even in really a correction now. We're just in really what we call a lot of sideways chop, and you could still, if you take out the recent low that was made in the market last week, if you take that out, then we'll look at another down leg, but not all that severe. At least I don't expect it to be. So it's really just waiting to see what these chart patterns tell us.
Yeah, wait and see, and that's kind of where we're at here. Hey, one thing we would be remiss if we didn't mention is the fact that our governor pretty much reopened the entire state, and we're still wearing these pathetic masks, but the fact is that virtually everything's open, even down in the southern part of the state where I am. There's some limitations, but the counties and the municipalities will have to justify a cost-benefit analysis of any place that they restrict, and every business is allowed to open no matter what they're doing. Fortunately, the strip club economy in South Florida should be back to normal pretty soon.
I did see that Governor DeSantis did reopen everything, and he actually took away the mask mandate for fines. So you will not get a fine if you do not wear a mask. I did not wear a mask this whole weekend, and I went everywhere, inside of stores and everything, and it was fantastic. So hopefully more people will wake up to that. And again, if you want to wear a mask, you should. I mean, but I really just don't like it personally. I don't feel good even after I do it. But yeah, it's great to see Governor DeSantis opening up Florida 100% now, and restaurants are, hopefully can start making some real money. And we have a big tourism tourist economy here, and that's great to see.
And the fact of the matter is, we're all about numbers on this show, and the fact is, they say, another 147 deaths reported from COVID. But then when you look at the Florida COVID-19 Department of Health website, it shows you that actually yesterday 7 people died of COVID. And if they really died of it, who knows? And that most of these numbers that they're giving are restatements of prior numbers. And it never gets picked up by the news, Nick, but yet somehow people know.
Well, what is the news these days anyway? Is it actually real? I mean, I know nurses and doctors on the front line that live right in my own neighborhood, and I talk to them every day, and they actually tell me that they don't really see any deaths. And people that do even contract it are having a much more easier time. Not to say that some people have not had it bad. I mean, there are definitely tragedies out there. I don't want to make light of it by any means, but again, if you're in that category where you are at risk, I mean, then you may want to stay away. But I think it's great to see that the state is opening up finally, and getting really back to business. The roads are crowded here. We got a new influx of people moving into the state. It's rather incredible. Construction is booming. I can't even get my trees trimmed in my yard. It's unbelievable.
Hey, well, housing sales were up 5% last month in Florida, and that should give you an indication. What do you think, and maybe you can see it in the charts of DeSantis reopening? Do you think that's going to lead to a bunch of other states fully reopening, and he's given them kind of cover, I guess?
I would think so. I would definitely think so. I mean, everybody wants to follow the leader. This guy's shown, in my opinion, tremendous leadership. And again, it's great to see this state, starting back up again. Now maybe they, get these, and for the first time in a long time, my wife said, hey, we're actually going to go to Busch Gardens this weekend with the kids. So, we're out and about, and everybody's doing stuff. So it's great to see. And I think Ron DeSantis has taken the lead there. And, Georgia did it. And, people don't realize, I think things went pretty well over there.
Yeah. Hey, there was a little spike in the summer, but pretty much overall, it was an overreaction to that little spike in a lot of states. But, the fact is, I just don't see how they can keep everything closed down forever. But, I wouldn't put it past them to do anything here. I think we'll leave it at that without getting political. It's just it's all about the economy and where we're heading. And the sooner the COVID panic is over, the sooner the economy is going to re-engage. We're going to have lots of problems for years to come from it. A lot of people lost their businesses, lose their homes. You'll lose your job. Lost your job? Well, we're sorry to hear it. And hopefully you'll take your vengeance out at the polls. In any event, Nick, well, that's it for today. Go take a look at Nick's site, inthemoneystocks.com, and the trading record is there in black and white for you to see. Twitter feeds at ITMS, at Nick Santiago01, at Kerry Lutz. Write us, KL@KerryLutz.com with your opinion of where you see the markets heading and everything else we've discussed. Nick, we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Sounds good, Kerry.
And so concludes another episode of Daily Market Wisdom with Master Trader Nick Santiago. Be sure to go to his website, inthemoneystocks.com. Don't forget the Twitter feeds at ITMS and at Nick Santiago01.